brought to you by the City of Marinette. And let's see here. If you want to get the calendar for the City of Marinette, you can go to marinette.wi.us and you can find everything else that's going on within the city, their events, their meetings, everything. So check them out. That's the City of Marinette at marinette.wi.us. So I have a returning customer. Well, actually, your first time on the mic. Yes, but you've been in here before,
I
but
have.
just not on the mic. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I am Judge Peggy Miller. I am a Branch 1 Marinette County Circuit Court Judge since August of 2024.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and you are up for
Election.
election, so it's coming pretty quick,
Very quick.
isn't it?
I've been telling everybody it's kind of like childbirth. You
Yeah.
can't wait for it to be over, and at the same time, you dread the day.
Exactly, exactly. And anybody that's ever been in that position, oh yes. So we've got a few questions for you
Okay.
because we're nosy and we need to know these things. So do you mind if we kind of do a
Go
little
right
Q and A?
ahead.
All right. So what did you do prior to becoming a judge?
So I was in private practice for about 19 years, and
Oh.
when you first come out of law school, you do whatever the partners tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So you get experience in a lot of different areas. But as I got more experienced, more time under my belt, I kind of gravitated more toward small claims, a lot of family law. So
Oh yeah.
divorces, post judgment, paternity. I did a lot of guardian ad litem work for both adults and
Oh
kids.
wow.
And then I started getting really into mediation, and went to every mediation training that I could find. And the Department of Justice appointed me to be foreclosure mediation in
Oh.
9 northern counties, including Marinette County.
Oh
And
wow.
then I also was asked by the federal bankruptcy court to do mediation for them. So I did that during my private practice days. And then I served as court commissioner, family court commissioner, and register and probate for about 5 years just prior to becoming judge here.
Okay.
That was a really invaluable experience. And I say that because it takes a while to transition
Yeah.
from private practice to being on the bench.
That's got to
You know,
be.
you're used to advocating one side. Now you got to hear both sides and make an
Yeah.
unbiased decision. And it's easy when you're sitting on the other side of the
Mm-hmm.
table. You get out what you need to get out, and then you kind of tune out.
Yes.
And you don't think about what the judge has to put on the record
Mm-hmm.
to make it a good record, and
Oh,
it's going to pass
that's.
muster, if you will. And so that takes a little bit of
Oh,
time
I
to,
can
to realize
imagine.
I've got to say these things, I've got to do these things on the record. And so that takes a little bit of time of transition.
I can
And so I've
imagine.
I've gone through all of that already before even becoming judge, which I think was invaluable
Yeah,
experience to bring here.
definitely.
So
Definitely. Wow, I didn't know any of that. That's good. See, it's a learning day for me. I learned something from Jared. Now I'm learning all sorts of stuff from you, Peggy. This is awesome. So, now what goals do you have as a judge?
so our terms are 6 years long.
Oh,
And so, if I'm elected, I have two goals that I would like to occur during at least this term. I would like to see a mediation center in Marinette County.
mm-hmm.
Mediation center can really help with small claims, evictions, some disputes, and even in family law, like financial
Yeah,
disputes or property disputes. The thing that's nice about mediation is the people still get to say their piece. And it's not in front of a judge
judge.
or a commissioner who's just going to make a decision, without taking into account what might be important to
Right.
you.
Yeah.
A mediator is an unbiased person who's going to listen to both sides and hopefully maybe find some common ground. And who isn't going to be more likely to comply
Mm-hmm.
with whatever comes out of that when you've come to that agreement between the two of you than if some judicial official forced it on you.
Yeah.
You know, you still
Yeah.
you still have some ownership. And there's always something that you think is important and something that I think is important, and maybe that's where we can find our common
Exactly.
ground. Is let's
Mm-hmm.
get you what you want, let's get you what you want,
And
and
then,
and how can we make that happen and make everybody
yeah,
pleased?
yeah.
So it's a great way to, one, keep some congestion off the calendar or the court calendars, but also it helps the people. It gives them
Hmm.
some ownership in their own case
Yeah.
or their own matter, and I think sometimes they feel a lot more heard when they can go through mediation.
Hmm.
As far as a process, it can be done by volunteers. We have space that isn't used on a daily basis, conference
Oh,
rooms throughout
nice.
the courthouse that I
Yeah.
think could be used for it. The biggest cost would be the training of the mediators. And I think I think I could find funding
Oh,
out in the
yeah.
community through some of our
Get a
civic
sponsorship.
organizations,
Hmm.
that would help with that.
Oh, definitely.
So that's one thing I'd like to see happen.
Okay.
The other thing I would like to see happen would be, and this is going to sound minor, but develop a waiting list for those cases that I've had to schedule way into the
Hmm.
future, and it's really just a plea or a sentencing or both, but I can't hear them because I'm so clogged with jury trials.
Right.
Well, jury trials can come off the day before it's supposed to happen, and now I've got a 3-day span with
Yeah.
nothing in it.
Yeah. What do you do then?
So it's not that I don't go to work, because we do
Right.
still go to work, and there's always paperwork and other things and getting ready for other stuff that
Yeah.
you can do. But if I had that waiting list,
You could
I could
just
start calling those people in and say, hey, I got open time, let's get you in here, let's get this done.
done.
Seems like a small thing,
But no.
but if I can make it happen, and of course you can't always, because you're dealing with attorneys and
Yeah.
other people, and sure, they've probably already calendared other stuff, but if I can make at least 3 of them happen,
Yeah.
that might be people that are sitting in jail that need to go to prison, and that gets them off
Off.
our payroll,
Uh-huh.
if you will.
Uh-huh.
That's, I mean, when we're housing them, we're paying
You're
for
paying
that.
for
Let's get them out of here
yeah.
and get them in prison where they're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
so it gets them out of
Out of our
you know,
jails.
out of our jails, and we're not paying for that.
Right.
The faster I can do that, the better.
Better. Yeah.
So, and it's good for them too. They're not waiting to start their sentence.
Exactly.
So, it seems like a small thing,
No,
but it
it's,
could be impactful.
it could be. Yeah.
If we can figure out a way to actually make that work.
The idea going back to having a mediator in a location, the UWGB buildings would be nice.
Sure.
Just a food for thought.
Absolutely.
I mean, great space.
Absolutely.
Might be an opportunity there.
You never know.
You never know.
That's a good idea. I'm glad you gave it to me.
No problem. So now, how would you measure success as a judge during your term?
Gaining respect. Having people, they don't know anything about you until they come in front of you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people say, gosh, I hope I never meet you, while you're at work. Should I be offended by that?
No, I wouldn't be. I'd be like, all right.
I'm a nice person. Come in and
Right?
see me. But I think really it's about gaining the respect of the citizens, the law enforcement, the other people I work with, the attorneys that come before
Yeah.
me. It's having them come in and go, okay, I might not like everything she said, but I respect where she came from. I respect how she delivered that sentence, or that she delivered that decision. So that's important to me, is gaining that respect. I want to be seen as someone who's fair and impartial. That's important.
Yeah.
And so I have one job and one goal, and that's to stay here as the Marinette County judge. So hopefully that works out.
Right?
So
Yes.
hopefully come in and see me.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
See her in action, I have. Now, what is your sentencing process? What's that like?
So when we're sentencing someone, there's lots of factors, but usually days before, I will go and look at the complaint, all of the documents that have been
Yeah.
filed. What did they plea to? Are there other charges that are dismissed and read in? So they're not being prosecuted on that particular charge, but I can take them into account when I sentence.
Right.
And what kind of what's the maximum sentence? Is there a minimum sentence? So I look at all of that. Then when we get into the actual sentencing, there might be a pre-sentence investigation report. and that comes from probation department. That's done on most of the felonies, and that can be 40 pages long.
Oh my
Our
gosh.
probation department does an amazing
Yeah.
job. They have to do a lot of interviewing and a lot of research, and they put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And it has comments in there from the defendant. It might have comments from family members, victims, could have comments from a lot of different people. And that's all important to kind of figure out, where's
the
this
backstory?
defendant coming
Yeah.
from? Someone who's, been doing drugs since they were 8 years old compared to someone who's, not doing them but delivering them is a big difference in
Oh, yeah.
story. And that's
Yeah.
something you want to know when you're sentencing.
Definitely.
Because there are the galleon factors that we have to put on the record. So that's punishment of the defendant, that's protection of the community, restitution, deterrence of others. We have these factors that we have to look at, and we have to put how we sentenced based on those factors into the record.
Oh, wow.
Then there are a whole bunch of other factors, like what's it say in the pre-sentence investigation report? What's their demeanor? Do they have a past criminal record? Those kinds of things. And so you look at all of those things. You listen to the state's argument about what they want to recommend. You listen to the defense's argument about what they want to recommend, and then you make an unbiased decision. I try to be as consistent as possible at the same time as taking into effect every defendant has a different story.
Yeah.
Every case is different, and you have to look at that. So I actually keep a grid for myself of this is the kind of crime that we're talking about, the kind of charge we're talking about. These are the priors. These are this is kind of like some of the facts, the interesting facts that went with this defendant, and here's what I imposed. So I look at that so that I can try to be consistent, but at the same time take into effect the defendant's own story.
Right. Yeah, that sounds very familiar. I've never been sentenced before. I should rephrase that, Melissa. I've never been sentenced. I've never been to jail. I have never been in trouble. Knock on wood. I hope I never get in trouble. No, just, going through some stuff and learning that process, and even with work and learning, going to trials and sitting in on court, and I find it fascinating. So it's like one of my favorite things about my job is going to court. It's like, yay!
It's not like TV.
It is not.
And I could never be like Judge Judy and be that rude to people. I would lose my job so fast it wouldn't even be funny. And nor should you.
No.
Nor should you.
No, there's no
reason for that.
None.
No, you can you can be respectful to people and still maybe not do something they like, but you can be respectful about it.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So now, do you have any endorsements?
Just recently, the Wisconsin Judicial Initiative Action group endorsed me publicly.
Nice.
That came out Sunday night, actually.
Oh, very cool.
They are a nonpartisan group that is trying to enhance judicial integrity.
Oh.
Which
wow.
They have a lot of work to do, right? I mean, after what we're hearing on TV every day and seeing in the news all the time, I mean, this is a group that has a lot of work ahead of them. But they've endorsed me, and that's really cool. As far as it is, as far as people, sure, I have endorsements, but to tell you the truth, Melissa, I don't want to spread a bunch of names out there because I don't want people to be impressed by the number of endorsements or who they are. I want them to make an independent decision. What is it you're looking for in a judge? Come see if if I'm that person, or come talk to me, or find out if I'm that person that you think is important. I mean, we all have to have endorsements, otherwise we wouldn't be on the ballot.
Right.
There have to be people out there that like us. But I think it's important that you figure out what's important to you in a judge and come see if that's who I am.
Exactly.
Rather than, oh, well, if that person is.
Yeah. Well, I like how they do their hair, or something silly like that.
Yep.
I always tell people the very first time I ever voted, for like a presidential, I did not like Bill Clinton at the time, and I just didn't, because I thought Ross Perot was so cute with his little ears. That's how I voted at 18. I was like, he was cute.
Yeah.
His little ears.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
But, oh my goodness. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
no problem. Is there anything that you want to let our listeners know before we sign off?
Well, election day is April 1.
Yep.
April Fool's Day. What better day for an election,
I
right?
know.
But you can elect, or you can go in and vote now.
Yes, you can. Absentee ballot or voting is happening right now.
Right now, you can just walk over to your local or drive to your local clerk, city clerk, town clerk, whatever clerk, and say you want to vote, and they're going to look at your driver's license or photo ID, and then they're going to hand you the ballot, and off you go. It's that easy.
I know.
And you don't have to be gone to do it.
No, you can.
You can do it just because you don't want to go on April 1.
Right.
So
I always wait to go, and then I think, why did I do that? I really should have, I'm having technical difficulties again. I'll hold it. So I'm sorry if you're like going up and down right now, but you have a great background.
Oh, awesome.
You're in the loft. I could have put you on a beach somewhere, but I didn't ask.
But, then people would have thought I'm doing this from the beach, and
This
then that
is
might have been so
true.
good.
Yeah, you're in a nice loft with a tree behind you.
Oh, okay.
Well, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. All right, we got to learn a little more about you, and that's, I think, very important, especially with elections just right around the corner. So less than a week away now. Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Yes.
Less than a week.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness, people. Get out there and vote. It's very, very, very important.
It is.
Don't go by looks. That's what I did. Watch out for those cute ears.
Oh, should I be showing them?
Oh, there you go. So I just want to give another shout out to the city of Marinette, who they are our sponsor of On the Mic with Melissa Ebsch. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. The Marinette Fire Department wants to remind you all to be safe and stay off the ice. It's not safe at all. Mr. J. Heckle was in last week, and he was like, no more. Do not go out there. Do not drive out there. Do not fish out there. Do not put an ice shack out there. So stay